Howdy all Moglax Lives. I think it's time we play a little... Oh. No sword. No, yes. Let's play a little no sword. Oh, my headset's turned way down too. I forgot that thing I was listening to was super loud. So here I am down in the depths still. Doing a little mining. So it's been a week. I finished watching Sword Hero, Rising of the Sword Hero last night. It's pretty good. First season. Anyways, anime about people pulled into another world, and well, it turned out to be a huge political thing. They didn't explain everything, and I think they said there's supposed to be like 10 waves of bad guys, and the heroes from other worlds are supposed to protect the world from those waves, and I think they finished wave 3 in season 1, so but yeah, it's pretty good so far. I am looking forward to that. It was so I was getting to the end of the anime I was watching, and I'm like, I want a thinker, and so I typed in like most mind-bending anime of 2020, right? Oh. I guess I didn't realize I was out of torches. Oh, I'm not out of torches. They're in your hand. They are in your hand. Okay, so torches on the right. Torches on the right. Torch on the right. Well, dang it. Those are torches on the left. One of these places has got to lead out of here, okay? There's so many bad guys in here. I don't understand what's going on. Like, this place is not that dark. Why are there so many bad guys? Y'all shouldn't be here. Okay, it looks like I should be going up there. Okay, torch on the right. Listen, game. Whoever put these torches in did a terrible job. Oh, here we go. But yeah, it was interesting. They spoilers, I guess, since I want to talk about what went down in it. Uh, the um, so they've got the kingdom, and in the kingdom, um, the kingdom is a matriarchy, and the queen was off doing uh, a thing, international conference, in preparation for the waves coming in. Right, there's multiple kingdoms, and so they were all going to work together. So she left her husband. No, she left this other guy in charge because she didn't trust her husband. And so while she was gone, you don't find this out until almost the end of the first season because the queen is not in it basically until the very end. And so while she was gone, the king decided that, well, he hates non-humans, and you know what's interesting to me is I went and I got all that stuff, but I've got tons of it right there. Oh, you know what? I was waiting for glass to cook, wasn't I? Because I don't have a silk touch pick anymore because I burnt up in the lava. Yes, that is what happened. So, so she was there, and he hates non-humans. And the non-humans, and I've not found out why yet, that was not covered in the first season. The non-humans basically worship the shield hero. So what there is there's a sword hero, a bow hero, a spear hero, and a shield hero. And so the problem is that well, okay, it's not, I don't know. Anyways, so while she was gone, he came up with a plan, and so he, with the backing of the Church of the Three Heroes, who also hate the Shield Hero, because the Shield Hero has something to do with demi-humans. I think it just is that he's nice to them, and so they summon the four heroes, and then they plot to discredit the shield hero, and they do everything they can to get rid of him, including trying to kill him at points, and before the queen returns at the very end of the season. But they were supposed to summon one hero for each of the kingdoms, and instead the king summoned all four of them so that his human-centric kingdom would have more control over the heroes. And then the anime itself is about the shield hero, and almost exclusively about the shield hero and what he has to go through, because like the king says they'll pay them based on how well they do during the waves, and so they defeat their first wave, and by that point they had gotten the princess to accuse him of assaulting her, which didn't happen. and so he only gave him the bare minimum, and then none of the people would join his team, and because the heroes can't fight together, um, because it's a it's kind of like they got pulled into a video game, and so they have levels and classes and stuff, and so they've got to gain experience fighting monsters, and if they're together, they don't get any experience. And so, but it's pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. It was quite well done. I like isekai anime, which is what this is, I guess. I really had gone pretty gung ho into book series that are, I guess, isekai, that I didn't even know was a genre before, and then I discovered some books based on being sucked into another world, or this world gaining game-like levels and statistics and classes and things. And I rather quite enjoy that genre. But I finished that last night. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. It feels like it's about the only thing that I managed to do this week, honestly. It was super hot here on Thursday, and I went out and did a tiny amount of yard work, which was my whole plan, because Thursday and Friday were my days that I knew I had off to do yard work, but it was so hot. It was like 87 degrees or something, super humid. Just walking outside was just like, ugh, just instant covered in a sheen of sweat. And so dragging a weed trimmer through the weeds that still need to be trimmed, and having every little bit of whatever stick to you. Not my idea of a fun time. Oh, I also had to work on the toilet this week. I guess I did do that. I did not install our toilet, and it's always had a bit of a wobble to it. And so I was installing a thing on it, and I must have moved the tank. Like the base, the bowl of the toilet has not had a wobble to it, but the tank in the back has. And I don't know enough about toilets to know what that means, but apparently, when it was installed by my brother, he must not have tightened the bolts all the way down, because it's had a wobble ever since it got put in there. And so me working on it and changing out some lines and stuff, I must have just wiggled it loose. And or not wiggled it loose, it was already loose. I must have twisted it enough that the water started coming out, but not all the time. And so it was really confusing trying to figure out what was going on that was causing water to splash out onto the floor, right? And so I finally was looking some stuff up, and they're like, oh, here's the tank seal, and these bolts bolts are inside the tank and they need to be tightened down. And I'm like, oh, I'll bet that's what's going on. And so I did go through and fix that this week. Okay, I need to put... Oh, I've got plenty of room. So that was a multi-day project, installing stuff on the toilet and then fixing the tank. But yeah, it's interesting to me how that all works. Like, the tank on our toilet is separate from the bowl. And so there's like a kind of like a plunger shaped rubber seal that goes in the toilet, and this is where I'm not going to have any room. And so it goes in there to collect, or to stop the water from just running out. And so as long as those bolts inside the tank are tightened down, although they must have some kind of thing on them too, but I didn't have to mess with that, thankfully. Yeah, it's weird, the stuff you have to learn. I guess I could have called a plumber or something, but I'm more apt to try and fix it myself, honestly. I mean, we do call the plumber if we need one, but I don't know. This didn't seem like a call the plumber issue. This seemed like a research it on YouTube issue. Ooh, don't get all crazy on me there, man. Trying to kill me, did you see that? Tried to kill me. Okay, I should get this stuff put down before I run out of room. And I guess the other thing I spent a lot of my time with this week was the protests. I don't like to talk about politics and stuff in my videos, but man, the stuff I have seen this week from people I thought were smarter is ridiculous. Just like, I grew up with some of the people, and somewhere in our lives we have diverged in political ideals, in societal ideals, in human ideals. And yeah, I realize that some of the things I realize some of the things is because I like to learn, and most people don't like to learn. They are comfortable in their non-learning state, and just refuse to. I mean, I have I have friends who are proud that the only book they've ever read was one book in high school that they had to read for homework. We're in our 40s. So for 25, is that right? 25 years, he has never read a book. I don't think that's something to be proud of. I read dozens of books a year. I'll admit, most of them for entertainment. I don't read a lot of biographies or anything like that. That's not my cup of tea. But I'm not afraid to go and look up someone's biography and read through it if there's someone that is important to the subject that I'm studying, I guess. But man, some of the not the guy who doesn't read, but other people that I have grown up with, the stuff they're posting is just insane. Just So, Black Lives Matter. Just in case you were wondering where I was going, or where I was looking at the subject from, I understand that this does not mean that only Black Lives Matter. What it means is they matter as much as anybody else's, and statistics do not indicate that that is true. I am an avid true crime podcast listener. My favorites are people who are wrongfully confused. I was going to say confused. Wrongfully convicted. And it amazes me how corrupt and incompetent and unsuccessful the police force is as a whole. Now, I'm not saying there aren't good cops. What I am saying is there's too much protection for the bad ones. And there's great examples. I use the word great. That's not a good word for this. There are prime examples of this just in the last week. Just taking one incident, that I think showcases some of what I'm talking about. An old man gets pushed down by the police and hits his head. And he lays there on the street. And the police tell one of their own not to help the man and walk around him. Where the day before, they had met with and said they were in support for what was going on. And so when they filed their report about the police, when they filed their report about what had happened, their report said the man had fallen down and injured himself. Not that he'd been shoved down by the police, but he had fallen on his own, and it had nothing to do with them. But it was caught on video, which I think is the big thing that's happening now, is that everybody records things, and this stuff has always been going on. This is not a new thing. There's nothing new at all, basically. I mean, that's not true. There are some new things, but there's a saying, right? There's nothing new under the sun, and because this stuff has always been going on, and I saw someone post in my feed that they were sick of this crap because they lived through it in the 60s and they didn't expect to have to see it again. And they didn't mean that they were sick of the police brutality. They meant they were sick of the protests. And my only response to that was, if they protested, I mean, since they protested in the 60s, it's obvious that we didn't fix the problem then. And so it does need to be addressed and fixed. But anyways, back to the police officers in Buffalo. So then because someone brings it forward and points it out on video that that's not what happened, well, then those two police officers who've now been charged with assault, which doesn't mean anything, and hopefully I can keep a train of thought long enough to get to the point. But then 57 police officers in their unit resigned from their unit. And so the police union put out a statement that this happened in solidarity for the treatment these officers were receiving. And here's where it gets ridiculous to me. It's wrong. It's horrible. It shouldn't have happened. I don't understand why they would do it. So then, some of the police in that group of 57 come forward, and they're like, we don't understand why the union would say that we resigned in solidarity with what was going on, because that's not what happened. What happened was the union said we would be responsible for our own bail and lawyers and stuff, and if they're not going to have our back, then why should we do our jobs? And then I'm like, okay, so people are posting in anger that people are raising money for the protesters who are being arrested, and that's wrong, but you're okay with the union covering all the wrong that you've done? And there's a lot. Like, if you know where to look, not the news. I don't watch the news. But there are Twitter feeds that are recording, not recording, but they're Twitter feeds. I'm gonna go fix my pick. Twitter feeds that are keeping track of videos of police attacking protesters, and I mean, like, I saw the video where they pushed the old man down. I saw the video where a group of church people, including children and people in wheelchairs, were praying in the middle of the day on a street corner on the sidewalk, and the police started shooting at them with tear gas. And I don't understand. And then, like, the news says, oh, the police were blah blah blah, attacked, and so they had to retaliate. And then you see a video where the police cars pull up and everybody's just standing there, and then the police get out and start spraying them with pepper spray. So it didn't happen the way the news said, and it's just it's awful. It's awful. So then we come to um, why the charge with assault probably isn't going to go anywhere. And this comes from my knowledge of true crime, wrongfully convicted, stuff like that. You might have seen them talk about qualified immunity, which is where the police and prosecutors and judges can't be held accountable for what they've done in cases. Because it doesn't just apply to police. It also applies to prosecutors and judges. And because like you're a police officer, right? And so you not all of them. I'm not saying it's all of them. But you find enough evidence to put someone in jail for a crime. There's more evidence, and but you ignore it because it doesn't fit the story you're going to tell. Because they don't collect evidence to find out who did it. They collect evidence to get a prosecution. And the prosecutor is the same way. And they're super shady. The innocent ones that I have listened to, they're super shady. They don't give everything out that they're supposed to. Our trial system is weird, and so both the defense and the prosecutors are allowed to make up stories. And even if there's no evidence to support it, and then they're like, this is what happened, and then the jury only hears what they're allowed to hear, which may not include some of the evidence. And then if a prosecutor believes that the police have done it incorrectly, they still might not say anything because, as I have heard them say, we have to work with the police, and so we don't want to rub the wrong feathers. And so we have to just accept what they say, otherwise the police won't work with us. So that is a problem, because if the police are supposed to be the moral, I don't know, enforcers for our society, then they need to be held accountable for what they've done. And it's just bizarre to me, like, why they, like, one of the one guy has been brought up on 71 complaints about excessive force. 71 complaints. And nothing was done. It's oof. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna end it here because I'm getting worked up. So we did have a local protest. I did not go to it, but my brother-in-law did. That went very peacefully. There were no issues in my area. I was surprised. I do live in an area where the Confederate flag is not unheard of, and a lot of racism definitely exists where I live, and and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong, and I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't understand why you would be of that mindset. I don't understand the. I don't understand the anti global community. I don't understand the build a wall mindset. I don't understand the uh, uh, I don't understand the religious beliefs that people have. Oh, dang it. Oh, I thought it was going to get me. Where where the Bible the Bible says you're supposed to take care of the sick and the poor and the widows and the prisoners and the orphans, and instead we've got take away the food for the children, because a child that maybe doesn't need it might also get it. Like, why is that okay? What about the child who still needs it? Why aren't they gonna get it? You're afraid that someone who might not need it is gonna get an extra meal. Why is that so wrong? I can't grasp it. It's so. All right, I have one more story I wanted to tell. I'm gonna tell this quick story. Um, that uh, so uh, people were complaining about well, people were complaining about some things that J.K. Rowling said yesterday, along the same train of thought here, and and so then people were pointing out, oh, okay, no, let's talk about this. All right, I gotta go back to the Black Lives Matter. Um, one of the things that people keep posting is, why is there any outrage about this white guy that was killed by the police? I agree. Why aren't you outraged that a white guy was killed by the police? You didn't say anything about it until the protests. So maybe you should join the protests and or donate money, or something that you can do. There are plenty of ways to support police reform, which is badly needed, and there's no oversight. Like, the federal government does not know how many police precincts there are. Okay, uh, the different police precincts don't talk to each other. Uh, they want universal voter ID to be able to vote, but they don't want the same thing when it comes to keeping track of criminals and crimes and what the police have done. Explain that one to me. I just. And so, yeah, I agree. The police shouldn't have done the exact same thing to a white man that they did to George Floyd. I agree. I do feel that it's less likely to happen to white people. Uh, but if you're posting, well, what about this white guy that it happened to? Why aren't we angry about that? Why aren't you angry about that? I am. I tell people in my personal everyday life, not every day, I guess, but it comes up often on how I feel there needs to be police reform. For years, I've been saying it. And, so to say, oh, they're angry because George Floyd was killed. Why aren't they angry because this white guy was killed? Why aren't you angry that that white guy was killed? I am. I'm angry that George Floyd was killed. I'm angry that they kill anybody. If they're not shooting at you, I mean, they shot a woman while she was in her bed. They've shot people walking away from them. They need to stop shooting people. That's it. We need a separation between the prosecutors and the police, because obviously the prosecutors are operating in the belief that if they don't agree with what the police say, then the police won't work with them. And that's wrong. Okay, I'm going to quit now. I really am. So click like if you like, subscribe and catch the next one. I will talk to you later.